Here we go. Today I'm going to be tying for you guys one of the most effective Chironomid patterns, and the main reason it's so effective is it can be tied in any color, size, and shape, or not shape, but any size and color combination possible. So my go-tos for this are this one, I believe, is a size 18. I will be tying it in a size 14 for you guys today. But I like to tie them size 16 to HE 1760 is usually, those are my favorite Chironomid hooks, but I don't have those today. And so what I'm actually going to be using is just, I think it's a Mustad curved caddis hook in a size 14 with a white bead. I'm trying a new filming setup, so this is a little bit awkward for a second for me. So that's pretty large. And I'm just using a white bead on there, right? So now for this one, and when I say you can use any color combination, I mean any. You can do like color transitions too. So I have some in my box. Those ones right there that have red butts. Then I just have some black, some olive, some with red, some with red ribs, some with silver. So this one I'm going to tie with olive thread today. And I'm going to use, I'm using olive done, but I'm going to do it with extra small silver wire ribbing. And I think maybe, yeah, I'm going to tie it with some olive done. So you're just going to go in there, start your thread wraps, and I'm going to go back up towards the head of the fly. Then I'm going to cut my excess. So already it's looking pretty simple. I'm going to come in with my ultra wire. I'm going to try to almost insert it in the bead as I tie. And then I'm going to tie it back on down the hook. And when I say this is easy to tie, now I'm already going to come back up. I mean it. Like when I say it's easy to tie, I could tie this fly so quickly. Then you kind of just attempt to build a bit of a taper. So that's a good enough taper for me right there. Then you're going to, I always counter wrap, but you're going to wrap your wire up the body. Oh, sorry, my dogs are barking. This is not the best I've ever tied just because of the way I'm filming this. Then you're going to wrap it off right behind the head. Then cut, pull, break, helicopter it free in however you can. This fly is alright. I'm used to being able to be closer to it. Okay, my dogs are being really loud. I'm used to being able to be closer to it while tying, but then I'm going to come in there. Just a 3 to 5 turn whip finish. I do 3. Then I'm going to cut my thread off fairly close. Could be closer, but I've had the thread pull. I don't want to really risk that. But that's really all you have to do. And then I like to throw on some UV resin, so I'll do that. Or you can use Zap-A-Gap, Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. Is another good thing to use. What's one? There's more too. There's Hard as Hall head cement. That stuff is good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to be really careful while I do this, but I got some Raid Zap, and I think it's like a medium or something. Like the thickness. And then I'm just going to try my best to apply a minimal amount. I come in here with my bodkin. And this is really awkward because I have such a small amount of space to work with here. But I think it's mostly coated. So now I'm going to come in there with my UV light. And I'm going to kind of hit it. I'm going to rotate it while I hit it. This vise is a Renzetti Apprentice. It's a pretty nice vise. Pretty good for travel. I love using it. I'm just filming this on my phone, and I'm actually using, what I'm using to hold it is a DJI OM5 gimbal, and it's working pretty well. I like it. I'll be using it for fishing this year. So there's, yeah, UV resin coating. So that fly is done. You could add another coat if you want, but that's probably all you need. So, yeah, tight lines, everyone. Have a good one. All right, here we go. Part 2 of the Chironomid tying series. And today, we're going to tie something new to me. It's my first time ever tying it. It's a thought that I've had in my mind for a while, and I'm actually going to tie a bloodworm. This is on the size 14, same one that I used for the snowcone Chironomid. And I'm using just these, my grandma used to own a craft store, and she had a bunch of these little glass beads. So I'm using some of those for the bead. So I'm hoping this will work out well. I think it should be a fairly easy fly. For the thread, I'm using UTC Ultra Thread 140. 70 is preferable. And then medium red ultra wire. So let's get this started. Start behind the bead. Cut off your excess. This should be a really quick tie. Maybe I'm debating what I'll do next episode, because I'll do a couple episodes of this. We'll throw this on. Oh, that's nice. And we're gonna wrap it down the hook shank. Then I'm going to wrap it back up. This will be a really skinny fly. Trying to don't know why it's reflecting like that. It's weird. I guess maybe just give it one more layer of wraps, I guess. And then same thing. Oh, it's just the thread in the right light. Then we're going to counter wrap up the shank as per all of the chironomids will be tied in the series. Oh, this is making my arm nice and sore. This. And we're just going to wrap it off behind the bead. Oh, I just knocked over my UV resin. This is my first time tying this fly. It's an experiment, and I'd say it already looks amazing. Then try to get this wire off. Got it off no problem. Then 3-turn whip finish. 3 to 5. I'm doing a 3. Bam. That's already the finished fly in 4 minutes. Technically less than. My first time ever tying it. That's a pretty sweet little looking fly, right? So then, as will also be tradition for the chironomids, a little bit of Raid Zap UV resin. Because it never hurt anyone. Oh, this little feather is making me mad. That amount will hurt someone. But that gives us a good amount to work with. I'm sorry, I need to grab. Oh, there we go. There's a Kleenex. This is way too much. So we're just gonna grab as much of it off as we can. Then might have to clean the jaws after, but that's already. And we'll just throw the light on it. This one was a really easy tie, and I'm hoping that it will be effective. Right there. The all red bloodworm. And that's it for that one. So, tight lines. Have a good one, everyone. Episode 3 of my Chironomid Tying 101 series. And today we'll be tying Phil Rowley's, I believe it's Phil Rowley that created this, classic chromie. Yet again, the size 14 mustad hook. It's honestly pretty good all-around chironomid hook, if I'm being honest. And I could find them pretty easily near me. And I believe it's a 3/32, but I've got a black tungsten bead on there. The wider diameter end facing the hook eye. And I'm using Textreme power thread in white standard, and I believe I'm using an 8/0. This stuff has a really small diameter. It's sweet. I love it so much. And for the gills, which I'm just about to tie in, I'm using white antron yarn. Just pretty classic. Just kind of cinch it on. Cut this off. Oh, those pieces are being straggly. I'm going to cut them off real quick here. But we're going to build up a decent base and just make sure that that can't slide over the hook eye, whereas right now it can, so I have to build this up a little bit more. Being really careful about my thread tension. Just a little bit more thread on there to build up kind of a dam. Then do a 3-turn whip finish. If I can get my 1, 2, 3. I feel like that was only 2. But there's our gills tied in. Tying in the gills, I mean, getting it perfectly can be hard, but tying in the gills is generally an easier part of a fly like this. Sorry, pardon me, I just need to take this hoodie off. Give me 1 second. I'm getting very warm in the hoodie that I'm wearing. Alrighty, then we are going to tie in some red UTC ultra wire. Oh, I have to tie my thread back on first, but red UTC ultra wire for the ribbing. And it's a medium again. So there it is right there. Tie that in. Wrap all the way down. And come back up. Then we will use some medium silver UTC hollow tinsel. And this will be for the body. It has been a long time since I've used this tinsel. Holy. Oh, I think I just had it wrapped. Anyways, I prefer the hollow tinsel for my chromies, but there are obviously other options. such as I think I have some other tinsel that I use for my smaller ones because it's smaller diameter, and it's also it's also thicker and stronger. But now we're going to tie this in. It's really hard to see what I'm doing here, but now we're going to wrap this. Oh, I just knocked you guys a little bit. Gonna wrap this up the shank. Keeping it thin. Side by side, best you can. Oh, this hurts my back the way I'm sitting. We're going to tie this off. Oh, I have a sore arm, so I can't even crack my back right now. And now that that's tied off, we'll get in there with the scissors and cut it off. Then we're going to bring this up in a counter wrap. Which, as I said in episode 2, will be pretty routine to get these counter wraps. Oh, that ended up working out really nicely. And now the fish in my area don't really care for what I'm about to tie on, but we're tying the classic, so it's pretty darn necessary that we tie in a strand of peacock herl for to do a couple wraps of. Now we're going to cut that off. And because we're not doing any UV resin up on the thread wraps, it'll just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it from coming undone. 5 is my general. Sometimes I double, but 5 is my all around. Then we will come in here, grab these, and trim them. So now we have those nice little gills. Then, of course, last but not least, little dab of UV resin. Little dab. And you gotta get in there with the bodkin. Try your best to spread it around without getting it all in your peacock curl. There we go. Now, of course, hit it with the UV light. And give it a couple minutes. There you go, that's dry enough, but there we go. That is Phil Rowley's chromie. Have a good one, guys. Tight lines. Episode 4. What we'll be tying today is a ASB Chironomid. This one is my personal favorite pattern when it comes to, well, it's pretty much my favorite all around. I use it more than the chromies. I mean, I do love the red butt taper ones, though. Those ones are pretty sweet. I showed them in episode 1. So here we go. Yet again, size 14 hook. The same bead. I think it's a 3/30 seconds. White thread right behind the eye. It's gonna have the same following steps for the gills as episode 3 did. So that part's no different. Uh-oh. Thought I might have just messed that up big time. I almost did. See how well it'll continue to tie, because I just cut all my thread. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna restart that. Silly me. All right, here we are. Snip the excess free, as per usual. Back. Now we're going to do Antron yarn. Tie that on. And you have to build up the thread here decent so that your bead doesn't actually slide right over the eyes. Like right now, it will pretty much go right over. So that's why we tie more. Just make it thicker. That's going to fit just about right. So now we're going to bring it back. Do a 3 to 5 turn whip finish. I always go 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 when I'm using UV resin, and when, in this case, it'll be underneath everything. So, Then we cut the excess off as per usual. Put the bead up there. I believe it's, hold on, sorry, I'm just having some troubles behind the camera. Now we're going to go on there with our thread. This one is not going to be my prettiest tie ever. I'm used to tying these ones on a Daiichi 1760, which is what I showed you at the beginning. Then you need some, this one, I'm going to tie it with some extra small silver ultra wire. Wish I had some gold. Gold would make this better in my opinion. Then as per usual, up near the bead, when you can get it going, and wrap back all the way down into the hook bend. Then you're going to grab your ASB, which I'm just using chromie cuts. I think this is a 0.5 millimeter or something like that. And for the chromie cuts, you just tie it in. Also, this fly does look really good with a red rib too. Now you just kind of gotta give it a decent little taper back. And yet again, I'm using that Textreme standard white thread. And here we are, we're wrapping it up. Sorry, I had to move my... That's a great way to make yourself mad, is to have that all come undone on you. And now with this, you can, it's the same, it can be the same as the one we tied last, where you do have a peacock curl. I never put peacock curl on these. That's personal preference, and obviously what works for you. Then you're gonna Obviously, tie that up to the head. That's just your average everyday fly, right? Tie it off. If you can get a hold of it, break it off. Then a 3 to 5 turn wet finish as per usual. 2, 3. Cut off your excess thread. Then cut off all of this stuff right about there. Give yourself some half decent looking gills. Then of course, classic with my flies, a little bit of braid zap on there. You have to be really careful with this stuff, because if it comes out too fast, it comes out too fast, right? Now this isn't my best tie ever, but it also isn't my worst. Oh, I have to charge my phone apparently. And then of course, get in there, hit it with the UV resin, or the UV light. And that is all, guys. That is all that it takes to tie one of these. So, have a good one, everyone. Tight lines. I'll get back to you on the next one.